This is how CHSI Technologies grows our code. We're using a unique branching system where main and staging branches are always one step ahead of ready for release branch, and the ready for release branch is in production. We do this so that partner services, QA, and even some customers that are willing to help out go to a unique URL and see the latest staging release that they can test. At the bottom of the screen, you can see that 1.0 is deployed and that we're beginning work on 1.1. Those are just placeholder terms. We could be on version 6.7 or whatever. It's about understanding where the code base is and then how it's going to grow. The letters inside the boxes represent pieces of code, so you can see that main and staging have a piece of code that's ahead of the ready for release branch. Again, this is so that staging can be tested while work is done on the main branch and ready for release reflects what's in production. In order to have multiple people work on the same code base and not have stuff overlap or conflict, we're using branching. In this example, we have a large story at the top that may span several sprints, and then we have a sprint branch which reflects smaller stories that we know we can execute within this sprint. So developers have started work branching from main, but at the same time, partner services, customers, or QA can be testing and staging, and they might find a bug. And if they find a bug, a developer will hop on the staging branch and fix that. But now you'll see that staging has an extra piece of code represented by the letter C. We need to make sure that this change stays in sync, so we merge this code with main. Next, we've finished the sprint and we're ready to merge that in with main as well. And since it's the end of the sprint, we're now going to move the code from staging to ready for release. At this point, we can deploy, taking the code from ready for release and pushing it into production. Now our software is at the hypothetical version 1.1 and we're at the end of the sprint. To start the next sprint, we take the code from main and push that into the staging branch. So once again, customers or partner services or QA can test this code while work continues on the main branch. And so we follow the same process where we branch from the main into a new sprint branch where now developers can work on the code without it affecting other things. But it looks like we found a bug in production. So the developer is going to work on the ready for release branch to fix this bug. And then we're going to do a hotfix deploy and get this out in our customers' hands as soon as possible. But we can't forget that we need to sync up the other branches with this fix. And that means merging into staging and merging into the main branch from this ready for release hotfix. Now the big story is done and it's ready to be merged into the main branch. This big story will be tested the next time we merge main into staging. When all the stories from the current sprint are completed, we merge them down into main. And you can see now it contains all of this code, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, that we've been working on. And since we're at the end of a sprint, we're going to take what's in staging and merge that into ready for release. Our next stop is to deploy it into production. We're at hypothetical version 1.3 now. Finally, we're ready to start the next sprint, so we take the code that's in main and we put it in staging, ready for eyeballs to look at it. Just like when we started this, main and staging are ahead of ready for release. The code in main is ready for developers, the code in staging is ready for testing, and the code in ready for release reflects what's in production, and that's how we grow our code.